Radio Rahim with Anthony Joshua at the O2 Arena, where we've spoken many times.
Yeah.
This is the place where you had, well, you could call it your dawn of your career.
Yeah, correct.
And tonight, you had the new dawn.
Mm-hmm.
What was the difference tonight in the guy who started a new dawn and the guy who walked out in this arena for the first time?
Coming off 2 back-to-back defeats, more well-known 11 years later, we're still here competing. So, and I spent 8 months to 9 months out of the ring. So just kind of getting that ball rolling again. That's why they call it the new dawn, like new year, no mandatories. Let's come off 2 losses. Let's get back on that gravy train. Let's build again.
Internally, I know at the beginning of a career, you have no idea what might happen, but you have the greatest expectations. And at this stage, like you say, you have to come back after 2 losses. Internally, what's happening?
Strength. Inside me, just strength. That's it, really. I know where I'm at. I know who I am. And it's important for a fighter, for me personally, to know who you are outside of boxing. Don't use boxing to kind of make you. Yeah, so I'm strong, like, fully.
Of course, there's a lot of discussion. The old Anthony, the new Anthony.
Yeah.
Tonight we saw, in spots, you were standing tall, fighting long, and that probably is reminiscent of the so-called old Anthony.
You think?
Yeah, I think you were...
Standing tall, fighting long is probably what people are bored of. It's like they want to see me up close, trading.
So, but inside, there was more clinching. It seemed like, you were shutting the action down, then fighting on the outside. At this stage of your career, are you more cautious, more risk-averse than you were at the beginning of your career?
So, with that being said, if I was more risk-averse, I wouldn't box, because it's dangerous anyway. But in terms of my approach to boxing, you have to box to your strengths. I'm 6'6". That guy was shorter than me. What would you tell a fighter? Use your stick. Use that jab. Meet and bow. Do you know what I mean? Like, and win the fight in that way. And there was times I hurt him, but you could see like he wasn't ready to go. He would throw a few combinations and fall in low and come under me. So it just ended up being in a clinch as well at time to time. But you watch all boxing fights, there's always clinches. Like, fighters clinch. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, for me, it's like, I don't know. Is the new Anthony, the old Anthony? I said in the press conference, in the sense that Mike Tyson, an ultimate savage and beast, went the full 12 rounds a few times in his career. So like, what it is, isn't it? It's just the expectation that people have, to be fair. And it will always be like that in sport, always be, whether it was me or someone else coming up after me, there's always going to be these questions. But it was a dominant performance. The guy didn't win a round, I don't think. He came away from the Dylan fight on a high, saying, you know what, I only trained 7 weeks for that and I pushed Dylan to the limit. I've had a full camp for this. I've come in lighter, I'm fitter. I'm going to show these guys, and we controlled this guy. It is what it is. It's a win. At the end of the day, we move forward.
At the end of the fight, you guys were jawing back at each other. What was being said between the two of you?
I can't remember, but it was more the energy. But it's a fight. It's a fight, isn't it? It is what it is. So it's just the passion, like, and the pride, pure pride.
Once again, after the fight, people seemed more interested in the dust-up after the final bell than the 12 rounds prior.
That's entertaining.
Are you? What's happening in your mind in those moments? Are you losing your cool after the fight?
Yeah. It's, but not to the point where it'll kick off. I think we all know, like, look, there's a level of professionalism that one has to carry, but at the same time, it's a fight, and throughout the fight, we're talking to each other. We're saying things like, I push his head, he pushes me. It's like, listen, away from this boxing thing, I'll punch you up. Like, aside from like the professional boxing, like, I'll punch you up, and that's just it. Sometimes it spills over after the fight, but it's nothing. It's he said, she said, pushes and shoves. It's nothing serious. But there's a feeling in that ring that is hard to explain to people that are sitting outside of it. There's an energy that goes on in that ring that is so hard to explain to people sitting outside of it.
You won tonight. I think you knew that when the final bell rang. The night before, when you had this same kind of outburst, you had lost. Is it in both cases? Is it a matter of frustration? Is it something that is still angering you after the fight is done?
With Jermaine after the fight.
With Jermaine after the fight, and then USYK after the second fight.
USYK, yeah. It's hard. People may not understand this, but he was like, when Lomachenko was like, "You're strong," or something like that. I took it disrespectfully because in football, I see a lot of commentators say that a lot of African players are just strong. They don't ever talk about their talent. So I found it disrespectful when he mentioned I was strong. I kind of looked at that and I thought, for me as an African, I found that like you're trying to belittle me as someone that's hard working. So that's kind of how I interpreted that, and that's why I kind of got a bit vexed. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, and just the emotions were running high. So that's why there was an anger to their team. It was like, you disrespecting me, like you don't say those things.
Like saying you're strong but not talented, physical but not smart.
Yeah, but you hear that a lot. Like I hear that a lot on commentary when it comes to African players in like in football and soccer. That they don't ever mention their talent or like the knowledge of the game that they have. It's all about he's just strong, brute force, and it's like a lot of players, regardless of where you're from, they put in a lot of time and effort to get to where they are. So when you hear that, it's quite, for an African person, it's quite disrespectful.
Well, you clearly are a smart fighter. And you're a fierce competitor. So when people ask you about Fury, I expect you to say, yeah, bring it on. I want the bag. I want the fight. I want the title. But with a new trainer and like you took 12 rounds, you start to get your rhythm, figure out the style. Is it not smarter to maybe take a fight or even two with this new trainer and get your style down before challenging again for titles at that level?
That's logic. That's the logical answer. But in boxing, opportunities present themselves that you just got to fight off of emotion and say, yeah, whatever, like, I'm going off my will, my emotion. Logically, it's like, no, I want to kind of keep on building and take my time. But I've never been that type of person. From the get-go, from like 15 fight, fought for the British title, 16 fight world title, and just kind of been on a roll. Like, if you look at some other fighters, after like 40 fights, they fought for the world title, or 30 fights, we done it. We just wanted to get to that high level early. So yeah, I'm just down to rock and roll. You know, logically, it's like, nah, take your time, but that's never been part of my DNA.
And lastly, I know you're able to deal with the fans' criticism and all this social media business, but your fellow fighters, even in the build-up for this fight, they have so much to say. Oh, he should retire. He's shot. If he doesn't knock him out by this round, he should go. If he doesn't win, he's done. How does that affect you? These guys who you've come up with, guys who you might even have idolized, being so critical so quickly.
So it made me become more focused on my business. So when I'm done, I'm done. I won't ever need boxing again. That's just honestly what it made me become, is very focused and dedicated to what I'm going to create outside of the ring with everything that I've done. Because I saw the keys to this business from the minute I started. I knew how to navigate my way through. And I've done that every step of the way. So everything that comes with it, the good and the bad, I've always planned for what's next. So in terms of like the hate, it's like, it's water for ducks back, because once I'm done, I'm done. Like, what's someone going to say when you're sitting retired? You're sitting in front of a fireplace with a cognac and a cigar. Like, you think I care what anyone's got to say? So keep talking, because like, sooner or later, what more will you have to say? So it's just while I'm doing it, you got to have a thick skin, roll with the punches, and then understand what your strategy is. And that's how you kind of weather the storm. If you don't have a strategy, you won't be able to weather the storm, especially when you're in a position as well, you have a lot of expectation. So expectation comes with pressure. So people are always going to put their pressure and their ideas on you, whoever that person is. And it's just how it goes in the business. High pressure, high rewards.
When you see these guys in person, what's the energy like? What is your response when you know you've been disrespected?
Oh, so like what? Someone verbally disrespecting me? Talk is cheap. And half of them do it for views. Some of them may want to fight. But Talking is cheap. As I said, I don't really take it personally. Like someone talking on the net, like real life, yeah. If like you really have a problem with someone, you address it. But if I'm talking on the internet, like today, I want to talk about Carl Froch, and I think he's this, and I think he's that. It's like I'm doing it for the views and for the view. I'm not doing it for that person. So like I don't really. It's water for a duck's back. And as I said, when I'm done, it's done. Like let me just give me all this shit. Give me it. You're making me popular. Like that's how I feel. Is like give me more shit. You're making me more popular because when I'm done, it's all over, and I can sit back and laugh and be like, yeah, that was good. That was a good journey. Because I'm really like I'm switched on. I know exactly where I'm going and how long I've got left in this game, and I'm just gonna laugh when it's all done. Because who are they gonna talk about next? The next person. And I find it funny because one thing I'll do, I'll be able to be there for the next generation coming up and teach them how to deal with the good, the bad, the ugly. And I won't need nothing from them because I'll be a boss in myself.
When it is done, what is your love outside of boxing? Like, what else have you found in these quiet moments in this isolation?
Community, my community for sure, my family, traveling, education, and business.
And lastly, I see you have number 24, Kobe Bryant, there on your iPhone. What does that mean to you? Why Kobe's jersey?
Because someone said when they went and watched him training, he spent a lot of time working on the basics. Someone so great, you'd think they're doing a million drills, but he actually spent a lot of time working on the basics. So you can never like lose the foundations. Like no matter how far you want to go or how far you are in your career, I felt like Kobe, when someone said that, I said, yeah, that's someone that's like, he's on his game. Foundations, basics, foundations, basics. Obviously tonight, you want to see the amazing performance, but I thought for today was just based on foundations and basics. Use your stick, good defense, use your feet. They're the basics. And we won the fight, on to the next.
Well, one of the basics of character is generosity and kindness. You've always shown me that. Yeah. Generous tonight. It's late. You've taken the time to speak to me at the end. I appreciate that and the team for letting this happen. No problem. As always, congratulations on an excellent performance.
Thank you, brother.
Radio Rahim with Anthony Joshua.
Thank you, sir.